gonna treat you right.
I'm going to turn that on, and then the second thing I'm going to do is play the very cool intro, which is this one. Kia ora, everybody. Well, howdy do. Looks like everything hopefully will be working today. It's a pleasure to be here and only 9 minutes late-ish. I'm Tim Bad, I'm your host on this 13th edition of Happening, a live streaming art and comedy show where we're just here to hang out and have a good time. The theme today is the great outdoors. And I thought it would be a good idea. I kind of thought of it in the moment at the end of the last show. And obviously, as time crept closer to getting to do the actual show, I was like, well, maybe that isn't the best thing to do while we're in lockdown. But then flip it on its head, maybe it's the absolute best idea that you could do. I'd just like to open the show by saying that this edition of Happening is dedicated to a very special dog who's no longer with us as of today. Moose, we love you, and to Moose's whānau, we wish you nothing but love and peace. So this one's for Moose. We love you, Moose. The Great Outdoors. It's a big old show that we've got for you today. A lot of fun segments. We've got a return of a new fan favourite, Loud Cooking. Callum Devlin has sent us another edition of that in not one, but 2 parts, which I'm very excited to bring you. We've got an erotic reading of some quarantine sort of fanfic that someone's put together for us, which is very cool, and it's been filmed as well, so high production values all around. We've got to get a load of the cameras though, and we've got a bit of a themed one today for the theme, which is the Great Outdoors. And right here what we can see is an albatross nest. It's dark, but you can still see them, which is pretty cool. If you look just in the middle of the screen and then go a little bit down and just to the left, I'm pretty sure that is a nesting albatross there in the South Island, which is pretty neat. This here, we've got some great outdoors in Dover, in Kent in the UK. A little bit of moisture on the lens just to prove that it's real. Oh, and they've got zooms. I wonder if anyone's on that camera, or if it's just some sort of automated service. It's going 24/7. Beautiful ship. Do you remember the outdoors, folks? Oh, it was bloody beautiful out there. And what else do we have? Oh, now this is a cool one. This is a fruit feeder in Panama, and it's just going all the time. Actually, I might see if I can turn the sound on for this one, because the sounds are just gorgeous. Get like that. I'll be quiet for a minute. See if you can. Actually, I've got to turn this on for you, don't I? There we go. Okay, get a load of this. Beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. Oh, you love to see it. So, we've got a lot happening on Happening today. Carlo Ritchie's going to be back as well. He was the man who you may know from a lot of Titanic chatter last time. He's got another topic for us to discuss today. I want to kick off with a little slideshow of some photos of my own from the Great Outdoors. This because I love the Great Outdoors. I'm in my authentic hiking gear. This is that's actually on its side there. That's a waterfall. This is from the root burn. It's my beautiful wife there looking out onto the mountains on the track there of the root burn, which is a great walk here in New Zealand. And this is probably the finest toilet I've ever seen in all my days. Just an absolutely stonking view. And I can't wait to get back out there in my gears and my skivvies and my vests and whatnot. It's going to be fantastic. In fact, I think we won't leave you in suspense. I reckon we just kick off with the Loud Cooking. It's not Great Outdoors related, but not everything today will be. It's just a great segment. So strap in. If you haven't voted yet, there's quite a horrifying animation from Liam. Liam sent in just an absolutely phenomenal. I think I'm saying that right, phenomenal. Animated short film that he made himself of this jazz scene. It was very kinetic and very cool. And he's gone ahead and made another piece for us based on lockdown and us coming out of lockdown. And I tell you what, folks, he's talented, but the animation itself is fucking full on. So you can have your say if you go to twitter.com/ what is the handle for happening? happening_show. Go to that. The poll right now, so the question is, the brilliant Liam McGurran has sent an animation for tonight's show, which is extremely gnarly. Do you want to see it? At the moment, 92% of respondents say yes, 8% saying no thank you. So it looks like that's probably on the cards. The poll is still open for another 35 minutes, so that's up for grabs, but you can leave a comment in the YouTube as well, and that will go into the pot to determine whether or not we play that. But without further ado, folks, here's Callum with part 1 of 2 parts of this edition of Loud Cooking.
Hello, hi, welcome back to Loud Cooking. It's the cooking show where the focus is finally on what everyone wanted it to be on from the start, which is the sound. We're coming to you from 11:39 in the morning. I've got this cup of coffee, which is a prop, but also my first cup of coffee of the day, and I'm a bit grumpy because I haven't had breakfast. And that's what we're doing today. We're making breakfast. It's going to be fried egg. I'm going to fry myself a delicious egg. Today in Kitchen Sounds, we've got the coffee. Also, my flatmate Ollie is mowing the lawns. Let's have a listen to that. He's just stopped, but that was the sound of a lawnmower powering down. Most essential part of a fried egg is, of course, having the correct egg. Let's go over to my cooking shelf. Now I've hidden the egg as a bit of it's just beneath the treat. Can you see where it is? I just pointed straight at it. It's right there. It's in with the chilies. Egg, 1 egg. All right, we'll put that there. Another essential part of cooking an egg is the toast. We're going to have an egg on top of some toast. I'll take you down to so we got toaster cam going on. Haven't thought this through. Hold on, I'm gonna go off headphone. This is the toaster cam. So we're shooting live video of the toaster. I've only got one microphone though, so we're gonna have to time this right. We get the great sound of a toaster popping its delicious toast. Let's put the toast in the toaster. How about that bread bag sound? Was it good? I'm not wearing my headphones. All right. Great, this is going really well. I've set everything up, ready to start cooking. So I got told for someone watching the video last week that the clicking sound isn't actually this, but it's this over here. So let's see if we can get a better clicking gas sound today. Yeah, that was pretty good. All right, that's on. That's going to heat up. Now we want to put a little bit of olive oil. Damn it, it's fucking empty. Great. It's a callback to last week's episode. That sounded like nothing. Yeah, so we got some cool sounds coming up though in the show. Specifically the egg. I reckon it's going to sound flippin' awesome. Alright, toast cam, here we go. Pretty good. Oh, cool. So that's starting to smoke, which means It's going to sound great when I crack the egg in. Here we go. Fuck. Alright, I've broken the egg. Let's cut the heat. Oh, shit. Look, I hadn't really prepared for this, besides the fact that I did actually hide a second egg, in case the first one broke with my first attempt at cracking an egg with one hand didn't work. So, can you find the second egg? I'll give you a clue. It's in the OXO box. There it is. Egg number 2.
That is Callum, who you can find on Twitter at Callum Devlin. What a legend. I kind of thought he had in the first episode, the aesthetic of someone who was part of the band Wolfbeck, but someone's just said a lot of max headroom kind of an energy from our man Callum, the loud cooker. I think that's absolutely right and right up my alley. If you haven't found out about the max headroom incident, by the way, I won't bore you with the details because I think it's a little niche, but you should check it out. It's pretty cool. Important to stay hydrated out there, folks. As we head into our next segment for Happening 13, the Great Outdoors Edition, I've got some beautiful images that we've received from Gaby, who's a regular contributor from the United States of America, and she sends in these wonderful posters that she has up at work that she uses to boost morale around the office, and also, if memory serves from that first email she sent, because she's kind of the boss. So today we're learning about, she's in Vancouver, she's not in America, I had that wrong. Gaby might be watching, so I apologise for getting that wrong. Our catch of the day today, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, a nudibranch. They're part of the sea slug family, and there's over 3,000 known species found worldwide and at virtually all depths, but they are the most abundant in shallow tropical waters with a lifespan of less than 1 month to 1 full year. They are hermaphrodites and can lay between 1 and 25 million eggs per deposit. I wonder if that means 1 egg or 1 million. Probably 1 million, depending on the species. Their eggs contain toxins to discourage predators and are typically deposited in a gelatinous ribbon-like spiral. Good thing that Callum's eggs weren't in a gelatinous spiral of toxins that ward him away, huh? Nudibranches are cool as hell. I quite agree, Gaby. Fantastic. That's a great catch. Great catch of the day. And following that up, we've got our Beak of the Week, which this week is the King of Saxony bird of paradise. A male King of Saxony bird of paradise is only about 8 inches tall, but its flowing brow plumes can reach up to 20 inches long. What was that in metric? It's about about 50 odd centimeters, half a meter. These strange alien-like antennae can be raised and moved around at will and play an important role in courtship rituals. Males wave their plumes enticingly. I think that's enticingly, to attract females and wrap them around their chosen mates. It's a bird hug. These birds are found primarily in New Guinea and known for their odd screeching chatter that sounds more like radio static than bird calls. When the first specimen was brought to Europe by explorers, everyone believed this weird bird to be fake, but Gaby assures us that it's real. She promises. Beautiful bird that exists out in the great outdoors. We're going to be able to get back to the great outdoors in the not too distant. It's going to be a magical time. Now, coming up next, I'm going to get Carlo Ritchie back on the blower, and hopefully we've got all our Skype tech working. That's what I was trying to sort that out at the start, that's why we're a little bit late. So hopefully that all holds together. But in the meantime, boy, do we have a special treat. Mellow Code, who's a musician who has been sending us a bit of material, has written this email. Hey Tim, I've been digging the new show and have been spreading the word as best I can. Now that we love to see. Thank you very much. Happeningshow.com, people. I bought the URL, so let's spread that around. You DMing me on Twitter got me fired up creatively, so thank you. I have a new track, the first of a new album that isn't out yet. I was doing a real music video for it with a bunch of creative friends, but this whole shit has paused production. So I made an exclusive. I'm getting a lot of words wrong, and that's fine. We live and we learn and we grow. I've made an exclusive video that's just for Happening in my small apartment studio in Hollywood. If you like it, this is the premiere of Mellow Code's new single, Blink My Dead Eyes. Sounds fucking good to me. You can catch Mellow Yellow on Spotify, which I hope doesn't mean this will get the stream taken down. But if you dig this, go and look up Mellow Yellow on Spotify. This is the premiere of Blink My Dead Eyes with an exclusive video just for us. That is Mellow Yellow. Let me get a tag for that, gentlemen. What an honor. Fucking banging like 80s electro tune and an exclusive video just for us. You can find Mellow Yellow on Spotify. You know, we're graduating here, folks. It's not all just independent artists making stuff in their bedrooms. We've got people on Spotify, I tell you. Huge news. It's my great pleasure to welcome to the fold Carlo Ritchie. How you doing, buddy?
Good, Tim. Great to be out here in the slopes.
It's so nice to see you. You've got a cool hat on. You've really leaned into the theme of the great outdoors, and I appreciate that.
It doesn't quite fit with my headset, so I'm wearing it quite jauntily far back, but I'm into it. That's
cool. I think it works for you. Now, before we get into the great outdoors theme stuff, you might have a bit of an addendum to last segment that you did on here.
Absolutely. A huge revelation brought on by a comment from someone in the happening chat. Someone mentioned that Captain Smith the captain of the Titanic was born in Hanley. So I just had a little look on old Captain Smith's page, and it had some information that I was not aware of about.
Now, just for reference, Captain Smith was the captain of the Titanic.
Of the Titanic, that's right.
Okay,
but he was
great.
Also the captain of the Olympic, which was Titanic's sister ship, which people think could have been switched with the Titanic.
Yeah.
And he was the captain of the Olympic when it collided with the Hawke, which was the naval vessel that caused so much damage that it was a financial disaster for the owners of the Olympic, and that's the kind of crux of the conspiracy theory of why they wanted to switch the Olympic and the Titanic. But what I didn't know is that because of the structural damage to Olympic, because of that crash, they had to replace a lot of parts on the Olympic. Notably, they had to replace 2 of the propellers, and the propellers that they used were the propellers that were the most readily available because they were still in dry dock, and that was the Titanic's propellers.
Fuck off.
So
last
episode,
you told us that they got the serial number off a part off the Titanic. You're now and it proved that this theory was bunk. You're now telling me that bunkering is undone.
It's wide open again, Tim. 20
Yes.
minutes ago, I was convinced that the Titanic rested in a watery grave, and now I don't know anymore, Tim. Now I don't know.
That is absolutely tremendous news, and I couldn't be more excited that using the platform of Happening, I've managed to bring new information about a subject. I've never known as much about anything as you know about the Titanic, and it thrills me that you found something out here on Happening from one of the audience members. That is just great.
Just keeps giving.
Just tremendous stuff. Now, we'll now parlay into why you're here. We're talking about something a little bit on theme. What you don't know, though, Carlo, is while you do that, I'm also going to be doing, hopefully, something a little bit on theme, and that's cooking camping damper, which is a skill that I was taught, I guess, or at least told about when I was a small child, and I've never once ever used damper, eaten damper. It's basically camp bread that you make if you're hiking. So I've got a camera 2 position today.
My God, Tim.
We're going cooking show. I'm getting into Callum's terrain a little bit here. But while you telling me about the thing that you've got going on, I'm going to be cooking some camp damper.
Just like the campfires of yore.
That's it. So just before you kick off, Carlo Ritchie, what we're going to need today is 2 cups of flour, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of butter, and a 1.25 cup of milk. I've got all those ingredients here. We're going to be using soy milk because that's what I had in the fridge, and I've got all my dry ingredients here. So, Carlo, do you want to kick off and tell me what you've got to bring to the show today?
Yeah, Tim. So I wanted to talk to you about the legend and somewhat the conspiracy, some might say, of Bigfoot.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, in keeping with the rugged wilderness of mountain countryside, why not talk about Bigfoot? So I had a very deep dive into Bigfoot, and I tell you what, it's vast, Tim. Every time you think that you figured it out, every time that I thought this could not be a real thing, I was just lured back in by some tiny bit of evidence. So I thought I would talk you through a brief history of Bigfoot, then some of the biggest hoaxes, and then some of the biggest arguments for its existence, I would say.
Fantastic. That sounds good. Just to keep everyone abreast of what I'm doing, I've just combined all the dry ingredients first and just about to add the butter, which I'm not sure if I've actually got enough butter. 2 tablespoons it says it needs, but I reckon you might need more than that. But we'll just we'll continue on. So, Carlo,
how's it looking there consistency-wise, Tim?
Well, it's all just dry, isn't it? It looks like flour because we've just got the flour and the salt and the sugar and the baking powder in there thus far.
Well, similar to the way that things mix together, the Bigfoot name is really a portmanteau of the 2 words you might imagine, big and foot, and this refers to tracks taken from Bigfoot, and it's actually a quite new word. It was coined its first recorded instances in 1958. Mm-hmm. You might have also heard the Bigfoot called the Sasquatch.
I have.
Now, interestingly, this is often attributed as a Native American Indian word, but is in fact also an Anglicization, fairly new word, first recorded in 1929.
Huh.
It is an Anglicization, as I said. It's based on the Halkomelem word, which is one of the Salahan languages, which is Seskech. And that was then obviously anglicized into Sasquatch. It's interesting, though, the legend of a giant person is kind of quite ubiquitous across Native American culture and First Nations of both the United States and Canada, with a whole variety of different legends, some of them with like nefarious creatures in the forest and others sort of benign spirits of the trees. But the sort of the ones that are relevant to us all come from the Pacific Northwest of the USA and Canada, in which we start to get this idea of the Seskech, or sort of this giant being. It's debated, like the Seskech of for example, the St. Albs people, they claim it spoke and was sort of much more human than it's sort of become the legend.
Oh, wow. Like it had language skills.
Yeah, their belief, and they were very firmly committed to it being a real creature, was that it spoke the Lelut language, and you have to excuse my pronunciation. The Lelut language is also called Slay Tlelchelf.
Yeah, I will excuse that.
Native language, which is an endangered language from British Columbia and Canada. So they were like, this is a kind of a person, so to speak, just a giant person that kind of talks.
Just so you know, Carlo, I've added a bit more butter than the recipe originally called for, just because I think it will need it. And now I'm just going to add the milk in, which you do gradually while kneading the mixture.
How much more butter did you add?
I'd say probably 3 times as much as they said.
Oh, that's quite a large increase, Tim.
Yeah, but you know, baking's about vibing. It's about freestyling. It's about feeling it out. Right?
Yeah, well, that's true. It's one of our oldest arts.
Yeah, absolutely, the original art.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of oldest arts, so you know, a lot of interest starts happening in Bigfoot in the early 1950s. Mm-hmm. And what happens then is that people in India discover the tracks of the Yeti, the abominable snowman, and this sort of starts this fascination in the possibility of, you know, oh, maybe it's a relative to man that's either regressed evolutionarily or never advanced evolutionarily, or it's some other creature or giant ape, etc. And that begins a fascination in Northern America. And then that leads to a sort of re-examination of so many of these myths and legends and folklore of Native American people. Mm-hmm. It all takes off in 1967 with a film which is called the Patterson-Gimlin film, or sometimes the Patterson film.
I know the Patterson film.
Seen.
This is like the Zapruder footage of Bigfoot community.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
iconic.
It's iconic, yes. It's in fact so iconic that the frame where Bigfoot looks back at the camera.
Just describe it for the uninitiated, though, Carlo, because I know about these things a little bit.
Oh no, that's great. So, the footage basically shows somebody, a very scrambled running with a camera, and then the camera freezes, and you see a very large ape-like creature marching along a dry riverbed. And at one point, it turns and looks at the camera, and then lumbers off into the distance. The camera sort of follows it for a while. It's all very shuddery camera work, but there is like a sort of long pause in the middle where it's slow enough to kind of get a feel for the way that this creature is moving. And that will be important. We'll come back to the way that this creature moves, because that turns out to be important.
I see.
Interestingly, when you watch the footage, and I would encourage everybody to watch, it's about a minute long. They reckon it in terms of real times, because it was shot at 18 frames a second, or I think a minute. Is that how frames work?
18 a second. Yeah, that's 18 a second. Yep.
18 frames a second. It means that the actual event probably took about 59 seconds in real life.
Right.
So it's about a minute and a half. There's a point where Bigfoot or the Sasquatch looks back at the camera, and that's been used so many times that it's now in the public domain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that tiny bit of just a still image of that is no longer copyrighted. That's,
we should use that on Happening as an intro bump.
I changed my passport photo this morning knowing that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So now after this footage comes out, suddenly people are interested, as you can imagine. There's suddenly this footage of this thing that has previously only been talked about. There's obviously a lot of discussion about whether or not it's a fake, and I'll kind of get into that a little later. But the two people who have filmed it, that's Patterson and Gimlin, they then spend the next few years just desperately trying to get people in the scientific community to watch it. And they have 7 screenings for the scientific community in the US, and then they go across to Europe, and then they go across to Russia. And they're so very desperate for the scientific community to recognize this footage. And both of them go, I think Gimlin might still be alive, but certainly Patterson is dead, went to his grave saying, this is absolutely a real footage that we shot. Oh,
wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Gimlin also has always said, look, this is a real thing.
What, really? The two of them, they claim till the end of their days that it was real?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. And, I mean, there's some other evidence. Like there was also footprints recorded at the time, and a team of National Parks staff, I suppose what you said, National Parks rangers, they also later observed the same tracks. So there's some collaborating evidence in that, in that regard. There is obviously a lot of argument around the veracity, I suppose, of this film.
Sure.
But
I thought it had been somewhat widely discredited, and I had a weird feeling that the guys themselves at some point came out and said no, but that's very interesting.
Patterson went to his grave at least, and Gimlin's never really talked about it publicly. He's made 3 interviews, and in all of them he said he would never willingly participate in a hoax. So, yeah, I mean, it has generally been... It's... Look, the biggest crux about this footage is that it looks like it could be a person in a suit.
It looks very much like it is a person in a suit, Carlo. I think that's what the debacle's been about these many years.
It looks very, very much like that. But what the film does is it then starts generating a huge interest, mostly amongst natural scientists, or amateur scientists, I would say, people who are hobbyists in the natural world, or who may be reading a lot of things in biology or anthropology. Notably among them is a guy named Peter Byrne, who goes on to become the director of, and I think founder of, the Bigfoot Information Center and Exhibition.
Oh, tremendous.
In Oregon.
I just want to tell you, Carlo, just on my progress with the camp damper. So the recipe that I believed I was following called for 2.5 cups of milk. I think I might have written that down wrong in retrospect, because it was kind of at a good consistency just before, and I'd only put about 1/2 cup of milk in, and now I put another 1/2 cup of milk in, and it's gone like too wet.
Yeah, right.
So I've either written it down wrong, or perhaps the fact that it's soy milk is having some sort of catastrophic effect on the viscosity of the camp damper.
It is interesting to me that a camp food would require milk. If they're generally not the best thing for hiking, one would argue.
I guess you could create it from some milk powder. You just make the equivalent amount.
That's true, although you would imagine it would have a slightly different texture.
Yeah, that's true. So tell us about Mr. Byrne.
So Peter Byrne he becomes really interested, and he becomes known as one of, sometimes described, the four horsemen of Bigfoot theory, which I'll come to in a second. But Peter Byrne, he does something very interesting. Is he sort of becomes quite prolific in his advocacy for the fact that Bigfoot is real. He starts compiling a huge number of reported cases, and he's an amateur anthropologist, and I've seen him described in what I've read today as an anthropologist, but I've been unable to verify if that's the fact.
Like if he has qualifications, for example.
Exactly, yes. But his organization is in fact sponsored by a university, and he gains sort of a bit of credibility. And on one afternoon, he gets a call from two biologists who believe they've spotted a Bigfoot, and he goes out to where they've seen it, which is in Oregon, I think, and he goes, well, if it went through those trees are all very closely clustered together. Anything that moves through there's probably going to leave hair or fur. Gotcha. And he goes over and he finds hair and a skin sample.
Oh, wow. Jackpot.
Yeah. And he and these biologists, they're like, well, I have no idea what this animal is. This is not any animal I've ever seen. Let's send it to the FBI. That's the first thing everybody jumps to the conclusion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those famous zoologists at the FBI, the most qualified animal experts around.
Yes, well, what they hope is that at this stage, this is the 1970s, they reckon that the FBI are probably going to be the only people who have the access to DNA testing.
I see.
So he shoots it off to the FBI and says, hey, you ever wondered about Bigfoot? Well, now's your chance to prove it's real.
Do you think the FBI had wondered about Bigfoot?
Well, I reckon they have to have.
Yeah, I mean, the eyes for investigation, right? That'd surely be the big fish. Hey, Carlo, what I'm going to do, I've made a heck of a mess. So what I might do is I'm just going to hit pause on you, and I'm going to play a wonderful segment that was sent in to us. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
And while that plays, I think I'm going to get some more flour and try and even this mixture out of the camp dampener, okay? Because I'm pretty sure I've written it down wrong.
I think that's the way to do it.
Okay, tremendous. Well, folks, if you're just tuning in, this is Happening number 13. It's the Great Outdoors edition. I'm making camp dampener, and Carlo's done extensive research in the field of Bigfoot. But right now, what we're going to be doing is getting some Quarantinerotica. Let me see if I've written down... Yeah, I have. So this was sent to us from Cosette. I really hope I'm saying your name correctly. It looks vaguely French, which makes me think... Hey, Carlo, how would you say the name Cossette?
C-O-S-S...
No, Cossette.
Cosette. Yeah, Cosette, yeah.
She writes, hey, Timbo, I made this thing and then sat on it for a week because I was scared. It's a bit long and I would be happy to chop it down or let you cut it however you see fit. This film is a meditation on the sexy, forbidden nature of how much the outside world of the forbidden nature of so much of the outside world during lockdown. My first attempt at writing, reading, shooting something entirely by myself. Thanks for keeping spirits up and giving folks a chance to share their art. Isn't it? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Get the stream open because you won't see this in Skype. And hey, get a load of this, everyone. This is Cosette.
Feeling a little naughty. You know you shouldn't indulge, but you need it so bad. You pull into the McDonald's drive-thru line. Potential orders race through your mind. You tell yourself you should only get one thing and that you will be satisfied with that, but you ultimately go ahead and order a cheeseburger, nuggets, fries, and a McFlurry when it's your turn to shout into that weird robot podium thing. As you sit in line waiting to pay, your guilt at over-ordering is tinged by a reckless giddiness. You get to the first window and you hand the employee cash because you remembered to go to the bank this week and you don't want to see this later on your monthly statement. You pay with exact change and your hand accidentally brushes his in a way that feels strangely intimate and uncalled for. You pull up to the second window, and a teenager hands you a grease-stained paper bag of garbage. Neither one of you is wearing a medical mask, and you smile at them apologetically. The next morning, you go to the gym, motivated by a deep-seated sense of transgression. You're so close. You're just about to get your drink at the bar when you hear your name. You turn towards the sound, bumping the guy next to you with your very own, physically real shoulder. You apologize. You lock eyes with the source of the name-calling, and it's none other than your least favorite coworker.
Hello, everyone. So, bloody how's it? I can't believe there's 40 people that have been staring at a blank screen for fucking ages, like an hour late. I've been doing the whole show, which is the bad news. The good news is I've been recording it, so I guess maybe I'll put that bit online later. It's been going quite well. You'll be thrilled to know. But you can see that bit later. I've got Carlo on the line. Let's get into what's happening, Carlo. Now, we were talking about Bigfoot quite a lot.
Yeah, we've had quite an extensive chat about Bigfoot, you might say.
Quite a huge chat about Bigfoot for the Great Outdoors edition of Happening. I'm going to pick that where you were going with the conversation is that you've got some other stuff that you need to get on with in your evening. Would I be right?
Well, I very optimistically ordered a pizza to pick up.
Nice.
Yeah. At 6:30, but you know,
is that now? It's now, right?
No, I got 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, but where's the pizza place? Surely it's
it's a bee's dick away, really.
Oh, okay. So all right. Well, do you want to maybe talk to me about that? And I'm trying to figure out how people will be watching this later on. You see?
Yeah, I see. Because you recorded the first part of the chat.
I did.
Imagine.
The whole first bit of the show. So
all in there.
I'm not going to repeat anything that I've done because you'll see that later. But what I will reveal for our beautiful live audience right now is that we've got a cooking station here because on the theme of the Great Outdoors, I've been making a bit of camp dampener, and the recipe went awry. You see, it got a bit wet because I think I wrote down the ingredients list wrong. So while I've been working on this camp dampener, Carlo's been regaling me with a beautiful history of the legend of Sasquatch, or Bigfoot as it's more commonly known. And the bit of the story we're up to is, what was the decade? Was it the 80s?
We're in the 70s now.
70s, okay. And is it Peter Byrne?
It's Peter Byrne, that's right. So he's Peter Byrne. To summarise quickly, Peter Byrne is one of the four, as they're considered the four leading Bigfoot experts in the US, and sometimes described as the four horsemen of Bigfoot. I've only seen that written once, and I think it could have been a self-addition to their own biography.
A bit of self-aggrandizement.
That's right.
Instead
exactly.
of a kook, you become one of the four horsemen of Sasquatch.
Yeah.
It does sound cooler.
I've always thought of myself as the fifth horseman.
I like that.
So here's the thing, Tim. So there's these four people, right? So we talked about Peter Byrne. He has taken this sample from a tree, and he and two biologists go, we have no idea what this is. We've never seen anything like this. We'll send it to the FBI and we'll get them to do a DNA test.
Mm-hmm.
The FBI do the DNA test. They write him some letters back, but for some reason he never receives the letters. So it's not until 2019 when the FBI releases that document of their Sasquatch file.
Right.
It's a 20-page file.
Are we to believe anything untoward's happened with that letter, Carlo, or is that simply just sometimes what happens with the Postal Service?
It's, sometimes things get lost in the post, but with this, you might start to wonder whether, maybe they're covering something up.
Indeed.
But, yeah, so they basically shoot out this, they do the DNA tests. He never receives the results, and the results aren't published until 2019 when the FBI file is made available.
It's only last year.
Exactly. It's topical as well
Yes.
as interesting, I suppose. So the DNA test comes back and says this is a deer, and
Right.
and this comes back to this what I mentioned before, is that a lot of the scientists, a lot of the people who are interested in this aren't real scientists.
Yes.
Because you would feel like if you've got two biologists and a supposed anthropologist, they're like, well, I've never seen
A
anything
self-styled
like this.
anthropologist.
Yeah, exactly. You would think that they would not go, well, I've never seen anything like this before for something as ubiquitous as deer fur and skin. You know, that's if it was a bear, maybe.
Yeah.
Some kind of like rare animal, sure, but you know, like a deer, you can buy deer meat in the shops. You know what I mean?
Sure, venison and whatnot.
Exactly. So
It's right there.
anyway, that kind of comes to nothing. But what it does mean is that the FBI have now got a Sasquatch file, a Bigfoot
Oh, okay.
file.
So the aficionados can now say the FBI investigated Bigfoot.
Yeah, exactly.
Technically.
There's now 20 pages of the FBI report. I read through it. It's not...
Oh, God bless you.
Say again?
God bless you for reading it.
Oh, look, it's nothing particularly interesting, and I would say, Mike, that brief summary is all you need to know. The
I see.
FBI get a letter of a guy who says, I'm quite well connected with the Bigfoot Society. They do a DNA test, turns out to be a deer, and
Gotcha.
they let him know.
Gotcha.
That's the entirety of their file, basically.
Right.
But that brings back, so these four horsemen, so to speak. It's Peter Byrne, who we've just spoken about, a guy named John Green, who's fascinated with tracks, and he builds a database of all of the times that people have spotted tracks and also any sightings of Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy called Rene de Hinden, he becomes a big figure in Canada and the US in his involvement in Bigfoot. So much so that he becomes a spokesman for a Canadian beer. But on his deathbed, he apparently said to someone, I spent 40 years and I didn't find it. I guess that's saying something.
Oh.
So at this point in my research, Tim, I was thinking, okay, I feel like Bigfoot, when you look at this sort of tacky video, you look at this sort of spurious evidence and these bizarre claims, it's not really there.
Yeah.
And that brings me to the fourth horseman, and that is a guy named Grover Krantz. Now, Grover Krantz is the only professional scientist of any sort of real standing to scientifically back, support, and in fact argue for the existence of Bigfoot.
Right.
And that's what I shall say as well, is that this is despite the fact that his arguing for the existence of Bigfoot costs him huge. It costs his career, basically.
His prestige, his name.
He never gets tenure, as far as I can see. His name is kind of really muddied in the academic world. It becomes very hard for him to publish other papers. He's kind of written off by the academic society, and that he was, as far as I've been able to ascertain, a fairly well-read and well-published academic beforehand.
Right.
Now, he watches the video that we talked about before, the Patterson and Gimlin film. For those just tuning in, that's the film that shows, that you will have probably seen. It shows a large ape-like figure moving through a dry
Looks
creek
like a
bed.
guy in a suit.
It looks like a guy in a suit.
In a forest.
Yeah, exactly. So he initially sees that and thinks this is all a big bunch of a hoax. But then on the other side of the country in Washington State.
Do you reckon I just keep adding flour if this is too tacky?
Yeah, I think you do want it to be a little tacky though, because my understanding from when you make the few times that I've ever made damper, it needs to be sticky enough that you can wrap it around a stick.
I've got to get a stick. I don't have a stick.
Oh, you got to have a stick, Tim.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Better source a stick.
What is the consistency now?
It's now it's gone more of a bready less tacky because I probably added too much flour now.
Oh, well, I reckon it's going to taste good.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going to be good stuff. It's incredibly tacky though. So sorry, let's get back on track with Bigfoot.
Oh, quick. So there's a sighting.
So you got to get your pizza, Carlo.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hate to put a headline on this because I could talk. I mean, I got so deep down a hole on Bigfoot in the last few days, Tim.
Yeah.
So there's a town in Washington State called Boomberg. It's now abandoned. It's a ghost town, but a woman on the outskirts of that town spots a Bigfoot, and then a few weeks later, they find tracks in the snow and dirt, which get huge amount of publicity. These massive tracks.
Okay.
And Grover Krantz is one of the people that studies these tracks, and a lot of people say, "Oh, these are just a hoax. Someone has put them in." But he does really extensive research, and he finds that they have dermal ridges, and that is fingerprints. They also have some really interesting little structural features about them, which he then takes it to a colleague of his in Groningen in the Netherlands, and they determine that this can't have been a dead or immobile object. It needs to have been able to at least been able to move and space its toes.
Right. Have monkeys got those? Do you know the dermal?
All primates. I think all primates have them. It's we have them as well. They're what creates fingerprints. Yes.
So it could be a monkey they're dealing with.
It could be, yes. And it also would have massive weight to produce these prints. Apparently.
I see.
And he also gets Scotland Yard to investigate it. Their fingerprinting organisation, and Scotland Yard also claim that these are fingerprints.
So Scotland Yard oblige.
Say again?
Scotland Yard oblige. They help.
Yeah, because they go through all these academic channels, basically.
Wow.
And despite that, because his reputation is so tarnished by now, he publishes an article and it gets very little support. But he then goes back. He goes, well, actually, now that I've seen these feet, I think that maybe a Bigfoot could exist.
Huh.
And he goes back and looks at this footage, and he analyzes it really extensively, and he basically figures out, he basically says, look, this actually could be a real creature. He says the way that it moves is actually quite different to the way that a human would move, or in fact really could move. And that's sort of shown by the breadth of the shoulder blades, the number of inches of 10 inches that the foot is raised between each step, the degree at which the knee bends. He sort of goes into all these quite complex anatomical evidences or proofs that he says for the fact that this actually could be a real thing, and would, he feels, be unlikely to be a person in a suit. Just because there are certain things that would be almost impossible for a person to do, no matter how broad and tall, that this
creature in the Warren, what is it called again, the footage?
It's called the Patterson-Gimlin footage.
If you want to look that up, folks, it's only a minute.
Patterson film, yeah. And he kind of concludes that this could be a creature, and he says, look, there's also maybe the possibility of muscle definition in the way that it moves in certain frames. And so that's basically where I've got to in my research. Is it kind of comes down to this one guy. Everything else in this whole story seems incredibly far-fetched. There's some extraordinary hoax that have happened. People have made a lot of money out of this, including one guy like Rick Dyer, who twice told people he had a body and twice made over $50,000 from people paying to see it.
Wow.
And twice was revealed to be a hoax.
Fool me once, shame on me.
Exactly.
Fool me twice. Here's your 100K, dude. Well done. Fair play to you.
Yeah. But yeah, this anthropologist, it destroyed his career, which was apparently quite promising. And he went to his grave saying, yep, this is real. This footage is a real thing, and these footprints prove that this could exist. He believed it was a a giant species that had existed in Asia and had crossed the Bering Strait when it was a land bridge between Russia and Canada.
Carlo, Ritchie, thank you so much for the extensive research that you've done, which, as far as I can tell, concludes to there's one guy who believes this is real.
There's a lot of people that believe it's real, but he's the one credible
one academic. There's one semi-credible source. There's a saying I'm reminded of, and I might butcher the exact wording, but it's impossible for a man to learn something if his job requires him to know otherwise. Something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds like this man got in pretty invested with the Bigfoot. Hey, listen, you need to go get your pizza. You're 5 minutes overdue now.
Hey, no worries.
They're going to be
Thanks so
expecting
much
you.
for having me in, Tim.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming in for the tail end of the, we're going to sort it out in post. It's going to be a beautiful thing. Bye, Carlo. Enjoy your pizza.
See you, Tim. Have a good one.
It's Carlo Ritchie, everybody, and just to catch you up on what's been happening, I've been doing the show to no one except for a recording for quite some time. Started about 10 minutes late. So we were going for about 3/4 of an hour with no one there. But what I'll do is I'll pop up the whole file after this ends so you can see what we've been doing and dealing with. Fantastic that some people stuck around. I'm shocked to see 3 dozen people in the comments there giving me thoughts about Damper and Carlo Ritchie as well. And actually, no, we'll leave that. No, fuck it, we'll play it now. This is Carlo in a live performance that he did with part of his band, the Plonk Family Band, and tried to play this last episode, but it was too quiet. So I fixed up the audio, and you can enjoy this. And soon we're going to be having a chat to Guy Montgomery on this, the Great Outdoors edition of Happening. Oh, that was going to be so cool. It was supposed to be so smooth. Here's the quote.
Anybody has a favorite song from The Boat's Rockin'? What's one of your favorite songs from that little rock album?
Some fans of it. What? Bunktown, yep.
What, you say Brunttown? Plunktown.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I like to say everywhere's a little Plunktown. But specifically, Plunktown is at 4243 East, 4742 West. It's a special kind of place, Plunktown, where the people are all so pretty and people, they're even prettier. We wrote this song one of my rouseabouting spells up in the great northern state. You haven't heard of it because it hasn't become a state yet. But one day it will. And Plunktown will be the capital. Thought I heard the call down in Plunktown. Thought I heard the call come up. All the plonks around the world, gather up your arms and pearls. Get yourself to Plunktown, 42 West, 43 East, 44. There's gonna be a war there in Plunktown. There's gonna be a war there tonight. There's gonna be a war there in Plunktown. There's gonna be a war there tonight. Most rock and roll songs are about love and stuff, or maybe driving lots of cars. But a Plonk family, we gotta tell you about the massacre on the hill outside of Plunktown. There's gonna be a war there in Plunktown. There's gonna be a war there tonight. There's gonna be a war there in Plunktown. Gonna be a war there tonight. Everybody's getting war up high, war in the back of your face. You know it. Love war, crack the whip, ride the war out, whoa. Gonna get war down your base, put it on in your store. There's gonna be a war down in Palmtown. There's gonna be a war. There's gonna be a war down in Palmtown. There's gonna be a war down in
And we're back. Okay. That was the Plonk Family Band featuring Carlo, Ritchie, and guesting with Montaigne there. That was on the occasion, I believe, of the 4th birthday celebrations for Giant Dwarf, which is a theatre that I think still exists. Monty, does it still exist?
Had a great succession plan in place, but that was right before the world changed. And
Gotcha.
So who's to say what the future holds? But Giant Dwarf was my favourite space to perform in, not just in Sydney, but I'd say all of Australia. So I really hope that they're still going in some capacity at the end of all this.
Guy, it's great to hear you and see you. You've been enjoying the technical, what do we call it?
I would
Devlin?
say it's a trademark sort of Timbat move, really, isn't it? I mean, you've triumphed over your inability to broadcast the audio of your guests, and you've sort of wandered into an altogether larger problem, which was creating 40 minutes of content to an audience of nil.
You say problem, I say art, though. This is the thing.
That's true. I mean,
if a tree falls in the wood, did it make a sound? If Tim did a show for 45 minutes without streaming it, is it art? Yeah, that's what art is.
I guess it's pretty unsuccessful art, though. I was getting really impatient, actually, and really frustrated. I described at one point in the comments the experience as some sort of tantric foreplay, as about sort of, 40 of us just fucked around in the comments, really, speculating as to what you could be doing. A few people got some really nice threads of conversation going. People were talking about what they were doing while they waited. None of us had any idea that you were broadcasting or imagined yourself to be broadcasting. Yeah. I messaged you. I was waiting to come on as a guest, which is, I think, where a lot of my frustration began, because I actually have to watch Home Alone 3 as soon as this conversation terminates.
Yeah, so do I, actually. But that's a conversation for right now. We're doing another emergency season of the worst idea of all time, and the first episode is out tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, it's out right now if you're supporting us on Patreon. It's an exciting time. People were thrilled to see it.
Well, it's certainly the wrong decision made at the right time, and I'm happy for anyone who enjoys the spoils of our labour, and I'm really upset at myself for getting this over the line, and at you for enabling me. It's a really unhealthy relationship we have, Tim. And
take some personal responsibility, though, Guy. To be fair.
Well, I don't know. I think you got to look at me as who I am, and you got to know better than to say yes to any ideas that I bring to you.
See, D in the comment gets it. The comments gets it. D says it's totally art. It's like waiting for Godot.
Well, but Waiting for Godot famously drew quite full houses. Audiences actually watched the experience of nothing happen. I suppose the real art project was happening in the comments, while about 40 of us sort of weighed up the idea of whether or not we're actually going to consume anything together. You built a sense of community around your inability to hit go.
The art consumer becomes the performer themselves. It's very meta. It's quite cool.
That is actually.
Hey, we had an event happen last night. You did your first ever episode of Guy Montgomery's Spelling Bee live, and
Tim,
went off. Yeah.
Guy Montgomery's Guy Mont Spelling Bee.
Oh, okay.
Have some fucking respect.
Yeah, it works so well. I can see why you're so attached to that clever pun.
Hippening, do I? I say what the title is.
Fair enough.
You could extend me the same courtesy.
It was the inaugural episode last night. I was very lucky to be a co-competitor against Tom Sainsbury, Rose Matafeo, Madeline Sami. Was that it? And me?
It was just the four of you, yeah.
And there was a bit of controversy, which, should I bring people up to speed who weren't there at the time?
Yeah, please. Well, I'm happy to do it, to do my bit as well. I sort of put a bit of time and energy. As you know, Tim, you put on this show twice weekly.
Well, I try to, but then sometimes it doesn't sort of happen, you know?
Well, you've got good intentions. I worked my ass off to cobble together a spelling bee fit for the masses and compile, an appropriately challenging list of words for the contestants to spell. And in one of the rounds, the buzz-in round, I believe, where people would have the opportunity to spell words that other contestants might have gotten wrong, you'd gone incredibly quiet, incredibly gun-shy, and you brought a really frantic and honestly quite scary energy to the whole show, which I really respected. Can I ask you a little bit about what was going on with you last night?
I was just pumped to be there. I've got quite a hidden competitive spirit, or maybe not so hidden, but also a crippling inability to spell. So I was in quite a tough spot of wanting to win, but not possessing the skills to be able to compete properly. So I was having to get quite creative.
Yeah.
Do you want me to roll a clip? I've got a clip of what happened last night.
I think that'd be the best way to explain it to everyone. This evening we'll be competing with Tim, Tom, Rose, and Mads. That's the order that you'll be spelling in. I'm going to write down your names. The final word in the buzz round is mellifluous.
Mellifluous. Mellifluous. Mellifluous. Mellifluous.
School do you go to, Mads? What school do you go to?
Shut your face.
Tom.
I think Mads got in first. I'm sorry to say, Tom.
I'm sorry to say. Can I back out?
Incredible guy. Tim, you got in there? Go ahead.
Mellifluous.
Mellifluous.
Mellifluous. Yeah, it doesn't bode well if you can't say the word, but go ahead.
Mellifluous. Mellifluous. Mellifluous.
My fucking man, where'd you get that from?
Yes,
that is correct.
I cheated, but you didn't say that we couldn't. So
Fucking God, I feel unsafe.
I feel unsafe too. Those points are struck from the record.
I think you should give me those points.
You're a fucking desperate man, Tim.
And did you see how happy I was when you spelled that correctly? You absolute dog. I can't believe you've done this. You've totally betrayed the integrity of the entire tournament.
I've got one thing to say to Tim. Grow up. Grow up.
Thank you.
Yeah, so a lot of people took it pretty hard that I was thinking outside the box. Pardon me for being creative.
I don't think cheating is creative, Tim. Look, total transparency. I think you did a great job of volunteering yourself as the heel of the show and really, throwing yourself to the wolves in essence of, people who would have rule abiders. It certainly went against the spirit of what I was trying to create within Guy Montgomery's Guy Mont Spelling Bee, but I think retribution was pretty swift.
Yeah, I felt the heat hugely, especially from Rose, I have to say, and I invited her on the show today to apologise to her, but she was predisposed.
Well,
she was late notice.
Yeah, Rose was taking it very seriously. Rose, I mean, you say you've got a sort of undercurrent of competitive spirit that people might not know about you. Rose really let it all hang out there. She was a ferocious contender and hell-bent on victory from the outset. And I think anything that sort of displaced that or, through the competitive balance off edge, she took hard. And a lot of people at home, I just think you are one of your energy, Tim. You've got one of the best energies of anyone I've ever met. To be around you is a very comforting and warm and homely feel.
That's very sweet, Guy. Thank you.
You have this impact on a lot of people. A lot of people who I've introduced you to have said, I really like Tim. He's got a very genuine presence.
It's so nice.
I think the reason that this betrayal hit everyone so hard was it goes so against the grain of what people's understanding of you is.
You got to keep people guessing, though. I mean, as much as I want people to feel comfy, you know, I want to keep people guessing also.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I think it was, honestly, it served the spelling bee quite well in the end. I'm just reading a comment from Alex Jones, AJ, in the comments. He's saying, I got to say, I'm on Tim's side here. He still had to know how to approximately spell it for him to look it up. And it's honestly the strongest argument I've heard.
I actually did. Do you know how I did it? I hit the microphone button on my laptop on google.com so you can do speech to text. And that's why I had to say it twice because I cannot pronounce the word.
I love it. I honestly love it so much. And yeah, thanks a lot for doing the show, man.
It's a pleasure. People can see that show, by the way, and it will come back also.
Yeah. The goal is for it to be weekly. If you find my YouTube channel, last night's episode is there. You can rewatch it as I do with Happening oftentimes when I miss it. I really enjoy watching it as live, and you can see all the comments coming up in real time. And it does YouTube, who knew that? They've built something pretty good here. They're not always used for positive ends, but it's a hell of a website. They've made some pretty bad decisions in their time.
No, on the whole, it's pretty good. It's pretty good stuff. Did you want to talk about the great outdoors?
I don't have a huge amount to say here. That's fine. Have on my person a pretty small roach contained therein, you know, the constituent parts of the great outdoors. And before I go and watch Home Alone 3 in service of our great podcast, I thought I could enjoy some of the spoils of the great outdoors, the great indoors. I've lifted this plant up onto a stool here, so that's also... Oh, yeah,
that's the great outdoors.
And I went for a run before, Tim. I promised you I'd take photos of myself running, but all I went up doing was taking 2 photos of me with abandoned shopping trolleys, and then I got really deep in the flow of the run.
Could I see those photos? Is it possible?
Yeah. I'm going to hold them up for you. So there's me in a...
That's a great photo. That's really nice.
And then I found another one not too far down the street, and so that's that one there.
Oh, that's very cool. I like that. You're really putting an attitude out there as well. Sort of put upon, confused,
I do what I can.
kind of angry.
Got to tell you, so I shaved the moustache back in today, and I've had a lot of. I've been quite startled when I see myself. I feel like I'm looking at a former version of myself.
Oh, I think you look good. It's the real return to form. It's the Guy Montgomery I know and love. Oh, look at that. Gandalf the Grey over here.
I do what little I can for the people, Tim.
Fantastic stuff. Well, I hope you enjoy Home Alone 3. I'm sure you won't. This is the 4th or 5th time we've been watching it now. I'm getting really mixed messages in the comments on people for and against me, which is, that's good. Get the people talking. Let's give them something to talk about as the song goes. Do you want to see something gross?
Absolutely.
Okay, well then put the stream on and wait about 40 seconds because I think that's the delay, and you'll see there's been an overwhelming landslide. Let me check the results. I put this on the poll on Twitter, which is happening.com/happening_show. How do I get to the actual results of the poll, Monty? That's what I want to see.
I'm not sure. I just want to say, Tim, you look fantastic.
Thank you. This is what I wear when I hike. Everyone missed that because that's, that was at the start. That wasn't broadcasting. But this is authentically what I hike in. I look like a fucking madman, but I'm ready for any situation.
You look like a fucking champion, man. I love the setup you got. I think that damper's going to come out absolutely god-awful. You've obviously got no idea what you're doing. The stick ties the whole thing together. It is the rug of the room of damper.
I don't know what I'm going to do about that, actually. Frantically looking around for...
You need an open fire over which to cook it.
I've got the gas cooker. I've got a portable gas cooker.
This is not context we, the audience, have. From my perspective, what you've made is glue.
The people have spoken 93.1% to 6.9%. We're going to play Liam McGurran's disgusting animation. He's a talented man, but this is a truly challenging watch. So enjoy it, everyone, because you picked it. Thanks, Guy.
Good news, everyone. Coronavirus is done. It's over. It's gone, and you can now leave your house. You can talk to a friend, and now you can scratch your face Yeah, go on, give it a scratch. Fuck yeah.
Fucking hell, man. I'm just going to move forward. I think that's the only thing for it. It's good, like it's undeniably good. It's just, you know. Oh, Lord. Okay, we'll remember Oliver, great guy. He's been on the show a few times. What his goal is to make a set of escape rooms for the average person, you see. Oh, this has even gotten a rise out of Tom Walker and Demi Lardner. And I tell you what, if anyone knows absurdist humour that can get a rise out of people, it's those two. They're the bloody kings of it. If you've upset them, we've probably gone too far, to be honest. Right, Oliver's Oddventures is the name of the segment. He's building escape rooms for the people using 3D modelling software that he uses for his job. This is a nice bit of mental bleach. Don't drink it. Enjoy this segment.
This escape room is exited through a large roller door, but only after you have successfully packed a mid-sized sedan for a camping weekend away. Items that must fit in the sedan include an inflatable raft, a table, a stove, 2 children and a dog. One of your sleeping bags has no cover to be found, and you forgot to dry your tent from the last trip, so it is wet and mouldy. Every 10 minutes it takes you to pack the car, you will sit an extra 40 minutes in traffic upon exiting the room.
They're very good. They're fantastic animations. You see the dog? Some detail to that. And once again, you missed this because it's at the start of the show, but the show is dedicated to a dog that's no longer with us today. So, you know, pour one out for Moose. We all love Moose. Now, you also would have missed the first part of this edition, if you're in the live audience, of Loud Cooking with Callum Devlin, which has fast become, after the back of just one appearance, a true fan favourite on the show. This is a cooking segment where Callum has taken the focus off what is traditionally highlighted in terms of sensory perception around the culinary arts. We're talking what things look like, what things smell like, what things taste like. No. Throw it out the window. Callum's got the right idea. He's focusing on the audio and loud cooking. So this is the second of 2 parts of Loud Cooking for this, the 13th happening. Enjoy it.
Alright guys, just about to crack this egg. We're checking on toaster cam. Cool, that seems to be doing great. Alright, let's try this again. I'm going to crack this egg. That was a fucking showstopper, that one. So I'm bothering the egg, is what you call that. Just giving it a little bother. Not trying to give you any tips or anything. Little black pep. Sometimes with these crackers, you don't even need to crack them. You can just shake them and get that residual stuff out of them. I might give this one a crack, actually. How are we going to do this? There you go. Salt. Another ingredient. All right, let's go over to toast cam. See how that's doing. All right, we've lost toast cam, which is a disaster. But the Handycam battery only lasts for so long. Let's listen to some more of this beautiful egg. It's looking pretty bloody cooked. I'm going to cut the heat on that. That was the sound of the toast popping. Just going to put a little lid on there, and that's just going to steam the top of the egg. This episode has not gone to plan. Let's butter some bread. I'm going to scrape some of this horrible burnt toast shit into the sink. Let's put you down here. That is good as new. All right, ready for our final ingredient, butter. I've got the butter in a container. Let's give it a shake, because that's what we do on the show. Great. Nice one, Callum. All right, that's moderately on. Let's get this egg out of this pan. It's probably not making any sound anymore. That's the sound of a cooked egg. There we go, folks. Fried egg. Believe it or not, but I have this every day. Well, most days for the breakfast. In the quarantine, I've been eating this. Some things go wrong, but they lead you down unexpected and really gratifying sound avenues. Let's give this a try. Yum. Look at that yolk. Oh. All right. Let's end it there before I make any more mistakes and drop any more yolk on my computer. But this has been Loud Cooking. We'll see you next time. I'm going to go eat my breakfast.
That is Loud Cooking. That is Callum Devlin. You got to follow that guy. He's an absolute machine of content. And he and his brother have a fucking cool ass band. And they make their own music videos and stuff. Might play some. Maybe not today because I haven't got it all set up, but it's good stuff. Robbie's joined us in the chat. Probably start again on that toast personally, but appreciate a scrape toast is better sound-wise. Yeah, it's all about the audio. We've got a special guest just coming in, joining us live now. Hopefully we'll be able to get him up on the Skypey box. Tom Walker, can you hear me?
Hey, Tim. Yes, I can hear you. Can you see and enjoy me?
Yeah, dude, big time. You look fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see you. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows why?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Things are certainly going on. It's
Yeah,
Tim,
dude.
Demi.
Oh, Demi, how are you, mate?
Hello.
Oh, she's not wearing headphones, so she's. Oh no, there she solved the problem.
No, she's wearing headphones. There we go. Fantastic. Hey, I'm going really well. Well, I've got you two on. We're doing the Great Outdoors edition of Happening. I'm just going to return to my camp dampener that I'm trying to suss out. Have you ever made it?
Damper? No, I've always been I was born in an age where bread was easily available.
Oh, I understand. You think you're better than me?
I think sliced bread really does receive its fair shake of the lamb's tail in terms of inventions.
You
but
could
no,
be
I
right.
made it once when I was a kid. It's actually quite nice. It's a soft, fluffy, gorgeous invention.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to achieve that same level of culinary excellence that you had, but I've been winging it a little bit, Tom, because I found it too tacky to start with. I think I wrote down the wrong amount of milk to put in based on the recipe, but then I added too much flour. So it's the classic old trick of trying to find equilibrium in a cooking dish.
So I guess ideally you just end up with more damper than you started with, but potentially you've made two separate mistakes.
Yeah, that's right. And it's not just that they're going to balance each other out, because there's other ingredients that are being left for dead. There was a little bit of sugar and a little bit of baking powder at the start, which now, obviously they've been sort of nullified almost by the huge quantities of milk and flour now.
I mean, yeah, no, they're wandering around lost in the catacombs of the flavorless mush you've put together. It does have a certain craft project vibe to it.
Yeah. Yeah, you got that right. Anything that's hard seems crafty. Speaking of which, I don't know if you joined us at the start, but I was streaming to no one but myself for about 45 minutes, putting on a hell of a show at the start today.
It's as someone who's also tried to do like live Twitchy stuff for 1 or 2 minutes. It is wonderful to see someone else fuck up in such a manner.
Yeah, we're in double digits now, baby. You'd think by the 13th one of these 90-minute streams I would have had all the accoutrements sorted though, but nah, not for me. It's not my style.
It's hard, man, and there's no way to find out that it's going wrong other than to do it very, very wrong and just.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about your streaming endeavours with Demi a little bit, because I've been enjoying them tremendously. You guys have been tucking into a bit of GTA San Andreas, the very best game that ever came out for PlayStation 2.
Yeah, I'm actually just finishing up editing the newest installment of that, which includes, I think, possibly the greatest betrayal of our relationship. But yeah, it's such a beautiful game. It hasn't aged a day, or if it has, it's aged most. It only make it more beautiful to me.
Now, I think that it ties into our theme today of the great outdoors, because you spend a tremendous amount of time in GTA just sort of running about from place to place. Mm-hmm. That counts, doesn't it?
Oh, you'll be slamming that X button to explore any number of beautiful vistas in the town of San Andreas.
And knocking a cranny of a forest, even.
They made a forest so beautiful that for decades it was rumoured that Bigfoot himself could be found wandering around in there.
Did you catch a bit of that Carlo chat, did you, Tom?
No, I didn't.
Oh, we were talking about Bigfoot just before, about whether or not it's credible that the Bigfoot is out there.
I am a member of multiple Bigfoot groups on Facebook, and I can't recommend them enough.
Well, why didn't I get you on? Carlo had to do all this research. I mean, he was great, but...
I wouldn't say that I know much, but like the main thing I know is that the conflicts are things like, how old does everyone think Bigfoot is? And then people will reply with things like 30s, 50s, and then one person will be like, well, millennia, as he's an energy-based life form.
That's very cool.
Beautiful to see all these people playing with different rule books.
Which would you prefer? Would you prefer some sort of trans-dimensional figure that's visiting us to give us a message? Or would you like a more biological entity that would be able to catch in a trap?
I'm a simple man. When I hear about a Bigfoot, I want him to have big feet. And I want those feet to be nice and solid and on the earth, baby.
You want what's on the tin?
Yeah, I want Bigfoot. My ideal Bigfoot is a gentle, shy creature who spends time in the woods to work on himself.
I see. Hey, now let me ask you this. I'm making the Stampner up. I don't have any sticks, Tom, which I've been finding out from both guests in the comments section of the live stream is an essential part, which I have to say I glossed over in the recipe bit. What do you say if I put a pot on a gas cooker and just cooked them in that?
I think there's nothing more thematically fitting than continuing with that plan of attack.
All right. That's very cool.
I think you're set for... I may say how thrilled I am to see that little fire extinguisher there ready to do its
Mate,
duty.
it's very important not just that I have it, but that it is visible on the live stream. And I cannot recommend highly enough that people don't repeat anything of what I've done today, because for number one, your stream won't work. But for another, you're going to make the wrong kind of damper. Which isn't even a delicious... this is a survival dish, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
So it's not like I've screwed up something that's tasty.
Yeah, this is kind of like you've gone to eat a handful of raw flour and then missed them out.
It's the perfect analogy, because after the proportions that I've added, this almost is just raw flour held together by the sparsest amount of liquid ingredients.
I think you're just about to eat a whole bunch of newspaperless paper mache.
Well, we've got to wait a little bit first. It apparently, according to the recipe, takes about 10 or 15 to cook over an open flame. But I reckon if we crank the heat up, we can bring that time down. What do you say? That's how it works, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. This is bringing to mind a particularly depressing cooking tutorial I once saw on YouTube, which was a man cooking a lone hot dog with a cigarette lighter. And his review of it was, it only tastes a little bit like cigarette lighter fuel.
Now, what possessed the man to put that online? Because, I mean, doing it's one thing, but making it a product for the masses is sort of another.
That is the thing, isn't it? After you go through making enough stuff, the idea of doing that and then having to click upload, you know, after making the account, it's all a staggering amount of work to put a bad idea like that out there.
Really it is.
But I'll tell you what, convince me not to do it.
The trouble with these gas cookers, Tom, is, or rather the pots that you use in camping, is that they've got such thin metal, they don't conduct any of the heat and transfer it around. So you just get a really hot bit under the flame, and it just sort of burns without cooking anything, you know?
It feels like your main takeaway from using the cooking methods of the great outdoors indoors is how ill-suited they are.
That'd be one. Yeah, definitely. I'm not going to argue with you on that. That's dead right. You're not wrong there. We're also getting quite a immediate pungent smell of the cooking butter.
Okay.
That's kind of coming up. It's sort of transferring now into a bit of a fried bread situation, which I'm not averse to. It's quite good.
That might be nice for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk us through the smells and sensations that you're getting through over there.
Smoke, fear. Now, can I ask you a question, Tom? How has the streaming been as a sort of vehicle for the relationship between you and Demi? It seems to me like one of those things that would be the making or breaking of a relationship. Getting on and playing some video games online with your special person.
Yeah, I mean, so far, our internet is mercifully shitty enough that we're safe from streaming for a little while, but we've just been doing this, and I mean, we've been making content in the relationship for some time. The ambition is just to avoid the relationship becoming content, I think.
Yes.
So we've been doing a podcast for, almost as long as we've been dating. We've been dating for 3 years now.
BigSoftTitty.png, by the way, folks. Make sure you like and subscribe or else they will die.
Yes, otherwise we will, of course.
And Tom,
perish.
you've got an Amazon special coming out.
Yeah, man.
That's huge.
May 1st, this Friday.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. It's weird. I don't know how to promote it or go about talking about it. I don't know. You know when you have a thing coming and you're like, this might just happen and then fall away.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Amazon seems quite legit though. It's not like it's on Quibi or something.
Oh, what I wouldn't give to be on Quibi.
Do you want to be on Quibi?
One of the eponymous quick bites? Can you imagine?
So this is in the same way that, I'm kind of playing with the form by streaming to no one in particular. You'd like to play with the form by going on Quibi with your comedy special.
Absolutely. There's no better way. Tim, I insist that you look at my cat.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Sorry, I have been copping a look at it periodically. Were you waiting for me to say something?
I've been getting increasingly irate that you haven't observed the cat or complimented it, but I understand that you've been occupied with your fire hazards.
I'm really sorry, but I've got an open flame here and a lot of responsibility considering we've got a live viewership. Just checking that I don't burn things down. If for no other reason than insurance, In fact, This has just reminded me, I think there's a smoke alarm in here, which is bad news. Might just poppy that guy off because that'd be a real disaster on the stream. But I'll tell you what, they already look quite scony. Quite scony. Is that making sense? They look like scones, Tom.
That's great. I'm so
Should I
happy.
try one? And the taste? It's Play-Doh, is what it is. It's not like awful, it's just kind of, it's not great.
Yep. Well, it seems like you've successfully made a bare-bones survival food.
You know what? That's not going to kill me. If It's not the burnt bit gives it a bit of texture, and then the middle completely raw doughy bit works against it. So you've got a nice array of textures going on. Hey Demi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm at Tom's face.
Oh,
Give the headset to Demi. I don't want to talk to Tom anymore.
Off I go.
Yeah. My turn.
Demi, what's going on in your life, mate?
Hey?
What's happening? What's happening for you at the moment, Demi? Tell me about your life.
I'm putting together a stool. That's
Like
what
a
I was
poo,
doing.
or
Yeah, like a poo. I've been eating a ton of. You know what? Actually, I've been. I have a chaos ass at the best of times, and I took some laxatives the other day and just like destroyed my week. It really sucked.
damn.
So yeah.
You did a shit so horrific that it's sort of the grimness spanned multiple days.
Yeah, and it just sounded kind of like I felt that it had happened in sort of like everything that I did.
Right.
You know, when you're empty and you feel like a cave because something could live in there with how empty you are.
Far out. I can't relate. I'm sorry. I'll give you sympathy, but I can't really empathise with that particular. Hey, what's the cat's name?
His name's Dave. He's 13. I named him 13 years ago because Dad brought him home and Hughesy was on the TV, and I was like, Dave. But I didn't think I'd ever meet Hughesy, so now it's really embarrassing.
That is a great name for a cat.
Yeah, he's really good. Also, like, he misbehaves quite a bit, so it's usually David.
Oh, fuck. I don't want to get on your bad side just with that that tone of David. My God.
How's your damper? I could only hear part of the conversation.
I'll have another bite just so that we can get a live taste test going on. I'll tell you what. Look, have I undercooked it? Yeah, because I had to sort of speed up the process because we're dealing with things in real time.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah. It's like it's wet flour. You're like an inside out piñata kind of.
I guess I am in a lot of ways.
A lot of ways. All of your lollies are on the outside.
Yeah, the treats are
flour
external.
Yeah.
In some ways, all people are. It sort of comes back to the shit talk, doesn't it?
In the what talk?
The talk about shit that we were having earlier. We're all sort of reverse piñatas.
You think poo's a lolly, we're all a piñata.
Well, I'll tell you what, Demi, this episode's gone on longer than I anticipated because for the first 45 minutes I was broadcasting to no one at all.
Oh, great. That's cool.
So right now we're sort of in overtime. So I reckon I'm going to play a segment and probably bring things to a bit of a close.
Okay.
It's been so nice to see you. I appreciate you and Tom calling in.
Really nice to see you. Love you.
Hey, Demi, before you go.
Yeah.
How can people find you online? Where do people go for your and Tom's streaming stuff, by the way? How do you find it easily?
Me and Tom, our YouTube thing is called Grand Theft Demi Tom Walker Reyes. And I think you just search Tom Walker Demi Lardner on YouTube and like it'll come up, or maybe just add San Andreas or some shit. It's really stupid.
I fucking love it. I've been really enjoying it. Thank you for putting it out in the world.
That means a lot from you.
It's awesome. It's really awesome. Me and my wife have been watching it. Okay. Enough of that. I'm going to throw to a segment now. See you, Demi.
Bye.
It's Demi Lardner, a international treasure, an Australian comedian. And now I asked, David Correos came on the quiz episode, you might remember, and he just, Guy was talking about energy. David Correos is a man who just exudes the perfect energy. As soon as you put a camera on him, he's good to go. I got in touch with him earlier today. I said, hey man, doing a happening. The theme's the great outdoors. Do you want to make something? He said, yep, I'll grab my phone. And this is what he made.
Welcome everyone to my backyard. We've turned our patio into a station of activities. First station is our barbershop right here. It's where I cut my flatmates' hair. These are the clippers. And right behind me is my room. Oh, look, that's a picture of Speckle from Tuca and Bergie. Very nice. Here's a clip of some of my flatmates' hairs. Hey, Raymond, show me your haircut. Look at that job. Very, very good. Raymond, very cute. Now, I was going to show you heaps of stuff, like this gym area here with the bricks. And I actually got caught up because one of my friends, he wanted to actually, look, here's a compost bin. This is where we have our worms and stuff. I was going to get my friend to show me like a workout, but then I got so involved and he was so excited to show me. I think that's kind of what the video became. So just look at this. Look at the guy's form. Very hot. Oh, I didn't even speed this one up. This is him going at full speed. Look at that. Wow. The bricks. The use of bricks, that was really impressive to me. God, you could cook a steak on those abs. God, that's hot. But I mean, like, yeah, I was supposed to show you, like, the station's activities, but I guess the real point of this video is that with a little bit of hard work, you can get this. Look at this. Pythons. Backs for days. And, oh, yo, ladies, he is single. I've been David Correos. Thank you very much for watching this video. Oh, here's Raymond one more time. Very proud of his haircut. Look at that. He is a happy boy. Thank you. Bye.
It's a good flat situation. Seems like there's something for everyone there. My word. Hey, this is the Great Outdoors edition, and I wanted to share with you all a little recording from earlier this year when I was in the Great Outdoors. I bloody love the Great Outdoors. Love a hike, love a tramp. This was from when I was on the Whanganui River with my friend Nick, who's often in the chat joining us. Look at this. This is what we've got to look forward to come back to, folks. And someone's gone to the trouble in this very remote part of New Zealand to draw a cock and balls that greets you on your journey as you're careening down the river. Just beautiful. It's Kiwis being Kiwi, and I love to see it. So to whomever put that fabulous phallus on the river, I thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate that. The entirety of the episode's going to go up so you can catch up on what you missed when I was recording for 45 minutes to no one at all. And hey, you guys are great. The next stream will be happening New Zealand time, Friday morning. So that's in 2.5 days. And I guess we should do a theme. I think the theme, in fact, I would love to see in the comments if anyone's got any ideas for a theme. Now I've got a kind of pad for time for the stream to catch up. While we do, let's take a look at that river footage again, because that was, oh man, can't wait to get back out there. The only great walk in New Zealand that's actually water. Whanganui River, beautiful. They've really cleaned it up. It's just gorgeous. I reckon the next theme for happening, episode number 14, while we're doing the themey stuff. Oh, that's quite good. Outer space is an early contender. I like that a lot. Oh, it smells of smoke and gas in here. I better sort that out. Punctuality is the theme. Yep, read you loud and clear there, Michael. I'll do my best, but I always do my best, and often it's just not good enough. Cryptids, which are sort of fantasy animals that may or may not exist. Close-up magic, no. Mysteries, outer space, dinosaurs. Getting a very kid's bedroom vibe. Lock it in, it's outer space. See you on Friday morning for our themed episode, happening number 14, outer space. See you, everybody. Have a great couple of days. And if you're in New Zealand, enjoy very responsibly, please, your beautiful level 3. You've earned it.